YouTube video out now, man. Like, comment, subscribe.
Trying to decide on a good location to mount this monster, this huge Turbo Smart wastegate, and I mean huge. This wastegate has a 2.5-inch inlet valve. Big. Of course, it's probably overkill with a big wastegate this huge. Not exactly sure, but we have it. So I'm gonna make it fit. This thing is probably rated for something easily well over 2,000 horsepower. So will we get there with this vehicle? We shall see. And then this will fit at home. But I'm thinking I may be able to squeeze this baby somewhere right in this location, right in here. I'm going to come off the throttle body piping, the J pipe that leads to the throttle body, and then I'll snake a pipe straight up here to it. The pipe will always be pressurized, so once that throttle body is slapped closed, then this wastegate should still, blow-off valve should still bleed off. I'm saying wastegate. That's the Turbo Smart wastegate right there. The straight gate, that big piece right there. But anyway, this should bleed off pretty good. I don't want to put it over here on the turbo side, because then you got to worry about when this throttle body closes, pressure going all the way back through, going through the intercooler, back feeding here, and then once it opens again, re-spooling itself back over here. I'll rather have the exit pipe coming up off of it. I'm gonna bring it off of the 90 right in a good location, so it'll be something similar like this, right off this 90, and have a straight pipe that leads up right up into here. So therefore, it'll be in an excellent location. It'll always be pressurized with pressure. And as soon as that throttle is snap closed, this valve pop open and bleed that pressure off. As soon as it's closed, then we're still making that boost. So let's check and see if I have any 2.5-inch piping. If not, I have to order it and continue moving forward. So I searched around for some 2.5-inch piping for this monster blow-off valve, and I do not have any in stock. Even some old intercooler piping that I tried to find to see if I had anything to match up, and this is only 2.25. 2.25. I mean, I got this from off a salvage yard. It was off a 1.8T Jetta that had a aftermarket intercooler, but they only use small 2.25-inch piping. Oh my goodness. But anyway, I have to order some new piping that's 2.5 inches for this Turbo Smart wastegate. But I decided also to do something different for this beast. So I didn't want to. That's the me part that didn't want to have to go through this, but I know it's for the best. We are getting a lot of major hitters and shops that have been commenting on the crankshaft of this car. And of course, it's a cast crankshaft. When I initially built this engine, we did not have a forged crankshaft available. Now I have several forged crankshafts, and that's the Achilles heel. That's the weakness of this build right here. Nice strong hardware, reinforced parts and everything, but we have a weak crankshaft which we're not able to push to the limits. So I haven't even talked to my brother about this. We already have a backup stage 3 engine that's at the machine shop that's being bored out for our stage 3 pistons, block being decked, all the bells and whistles, aluminum rods and everything. But that takes away from the hierarchy of our performance level. This stage 1 build will utilize pump gas because we have low compression pistons in there, and then we can crank up the boost and also put a higher octane fuel. So I wanted also to originally know the limits that this engine could be pushed to, whether it's 1,400 wheel horsepower out of stage 1. That only gives major promise to our stage 2 and stage 3 engine components, which we already have sitting on the shelf and at the machine shop. So therefore, I'm going to use my daughter-in-law's line making a small sacrifice for big performance gains. Thank you for that line, Trish, and that's what we're going to do. So my next day off from work, I'm going to rip the engine back out of the car. My brother, I haven't even talked to him about it.
Hold the fuck, what? What the fuck is he saying? And I ain't gonna rip, he gonna rip the motor out the car. What for? We get this close, we can at least wait to get the, what? Yo, no, what? Nah, yo. Nah, yo. For real? Nah.
Back outside working on a TT, and this is entitled Small Sacrifices for Big Rewards. It's raining outside as well as inside, so you can see the drips coming down and all over the car. But decided to make a revamp in the program, and woo, a lot of work. Most definitely a lot of work, but nothing I haven't done before on many occasions. So I'm gonna snatch this engine back out. I haven't discussed this with my brother yet. He don't even know about it, because what we had planned on the list was the installation of his backup motor, which would be a stage 3 VR6 3.6 liter. But this is the stage 1. We have not even started this car yet. We haven't tested anything out. We haven't started. We haven't ran it or anything. So to stop this process and dive right into the stage 3, we would be doing ourselves a disjustice without finding out the potential of this beast. You've seen the build. People have jumped on board with comments and everything, and we've got such a big support where major heavy hitters was like, bro, that crank ain't going to hold the power that you guys are putting out. We see you guys are putting together a beastly build, and that crank is going to hold. We know that. We knew that. We was only going to push it to about 700 to 800 horsepower and just slowly ramp up with our stages. But deep inside, I know, along with a lot of the heavy hitters, this potential, or this combination has the potential to put out easily 1,300 to 1,500 wheel horsepower in stage 1. Something that we're not used to really seeing that's a real common with the VR6 engines yet. So let's do this. Let's snatch this motor back out. I recently acquired another forged crankshaft, and that's what prompted me to just go ahead with this. We had forged crankshafts already set up for our other builds, but I came across another one. Went ahead, snatched the engine out of a wrecked car, out of a salvage yard, wrecked vehicle, and it's like, okay, here's the forged crank. Let's take this out, put the forged crank in it. Well, take it out, take the machine, the parts and everything back out, send it to the machine shop, have everything balanced, and put it back together with a forged crankshaft and continue with the build. This will actually prompt with other parts as well that I already have slated for our stage 2 and stage 3 builds. I actually have a custom harmonic damper working with ATI for these builds with the forged crankshafts for the VR6 engines. The factory forged crankshaft, that is, with the 7-bolt hub for the harmonic damper. So I've given ATI my specifications. They built the damper, and that would be something beautiful to actually put into this engine combination, along with my custom Elite Performance special ground camshafts, billet camshafts that we already have slated. Camshafts should be a beast, something that I had been researching with for a while, came up with the specs, used my cam analyzer, my performance trends cam analyzer to confirm that information, and along with my upgrades, this engine should be hitting some heavy numbers. So let's go ahead and start taking these parts out. I have to go back to work tomorrow, but I want to get as much of this out of the engine compartment as possible. So let's start rocking. This rain is picking up outside, but at least I have a shield or some type of covering over. So far I've removed the turbo plumbing. I'm about to remove the up pipes and the exhaust manifolds. So one of the things is everything that was on here was really a mock-up anyway. So I would have had to remove all of this stuff that I'm removing pretty much, except for the turbo, but primarily most of the piping and clamps I would have had to remove to go back in and install my gaskets. I would still have to install my gaskets from my cylinder head to my exhaust manifolds and manifolds to my up pipes. The gaskets in between those, all these gaskets, my intake manifold, I have to install my O-rings in here. So I would have been removing a lot of parts back off the engine because everything pretty much was a mock-up for fitment. But now that we have a good 85–90% of that completed, it's easy to bolt everything back on. The hard part was creating, designing, fabricating everything to fit into this tight, confined engine compartment. So since that's been pretty much completed for the most part, and completed is a strong word because this is a continuously evolving project. So completed for our first stage, stage 1, and we're building off of that. Then we can continue with add on, and that's just extra accessories to make power. I'm excited to kind of really test out my harmonic damper, which incorporates a special type of crankshaft trigger built into it. So that's going to be beautiful. So hey, let's get this taken apart, and you will see some very, very nice parts in the near future. I now have the exhaust manifold, but I am going to have to take a little momentary break to push the water off. It's raining so hard outside that my balloon tent is starting to collapse from all the heavy water that's settling on top. So I'm going to push that water off and keep on grinding. When I originally started this build, as time progressed, I came across a lot of upgraded parts, and one of the things in one of my previous videos that I complained about was this housing, installing this plastic housing. So since then, I've come across an aluminum one. It's been sitting on the shelf for probably about 5 or 6 months, easy 6 months, waiting for the time when I dig back into this. So when we go back with our upgraded build of the same engine, we're going to install the new updated housing as well. And this time, everything should just go as planned. When I go to assemble all the parts, now I can start bolting everything down for the stage 1 build itself. Not completion, but the build. Like I said, we're forever continuously trying to evolve these chassis and these products. Yeah, look at them internals. All right, crazy interlude. I have a connection with this car. This is my brother's car. Of course, I'm doing the transplant, so of course it would be obvious for me to have some sort of a connection. I felt this car get upset for the fact that I'm removing the engine. When I updated the car, because like I said, I haven't spoke to my brother yet. I haven't even let the car know what I was doing yet. And the car got a little concerned, and the feeling I got was like, what are you doing to me? So I had to re-explain again for the second time. First time I explained when I took out the 3.2 to put in the 3.6. Okay. Here we go again. Like, what are you doing? Taking out the 3.6. I'm beefing up the crankshaft. I'm beefing up your lungs, that stroke, that power, putting a stronger stroke within you so that you will be able to spin all 4 wheels from a hard launch without the risk of snapping the crankshaft. My question to the car is, wouldn't you be embarrassed? You're at the drag strip or lined up at the light or got a big money race. You're feeling strong and confident. You drop the clutch, well, dual clutch, several clutches, but anyway, you drop the clutch or launch control. You release the launch control to be specific, and all 4 wheels start to spin and bog because the crankshaft explodes. When you be upset, car said, I got you. proceed as you were doing. I said thank you. So now I'm ready to proceed. So I removed my Schimel Performance cam sprockets. I actually tracked down and have, that's been sitting on the shelf also collecting dust, ARP bolts that'll fit these cam sprockets also. So several parts I've come across since I started this build that will actually get a pretty good upgrade. So this will be the actual stage 1 build that I wanted it to be from the beginning, and it's coming to fruition. Making some progress out here in the rain. So I've removed all my big boy 1/2 inch ARP studs and bagged them up. And next step is to remove the cylinder head. So I'll probably put a few of the accessories on this that I have that's sitting on the side and put them back on once I get the head lifted out the way and I have proper clearance from the timing chain. Let's get it done. Cylinder heads removed. You can see the custom pistons with our fuel bowls for our direct injection, as well as the thermal barrier coating on the pistons, original marking on all the valves from installation. This is all totally fresh, as you can see. Engine's never been run. But all this to remove this cheesy stock cast crankshaft. Not too cheesy. Cheesy for the horsepower level that we are striving for. So out with the old, in with a hardcore forged crankshaft, and we'll just continue with the flow. Now of course there's other options also, but this option is going to be for the factory cast crankshaft. Gravitune also has a forged crankshaft that we will probably acquire just for some of our builds also, and to test those levels to see how far that crankshaft can be pushed. Of course, with that forged crankshaft they have also, or billet crankshaft, the goal is to push that crankshaft for how much ever power the engine can handle. If our factory forged crankshaft cannot exceed the 2K mark, the holy grail of performance VR6 engines, then we'll grab that Gravitune crankshaft up also and see what kind of horsepower levels that bad boy can push. I just put the quick jacks back under the car on both sides, so I'm going to raise it up so that way I have some good clearance from underneath the car as far as unbolting all the bolts that mounts the engine to the DQ 500 transmission. So let's get this thing raised up, continue to see if we can unbolt this engine, slide it over to my left, and possibly get it out without taking out the transmission and leaving the drivetrain intact. If the car raised up and this rain is coming down, I mean down, the balloon tent is partially collapsing. I'm getting a major workout. I've had to keep pushing it up in the center just to get all that water that's settling at the top and get it to run off, because of course there's a box and all the water is just settling down, and every few minutes I'll look up, it's resting on top of the roof of the car and I have to push it up. But either way, I have it up in the air, just disconnected the hoses off the jack, and let's take the pump back in the house and go ahead and continue to proceed by unbolting some of the bolts on the bottom of the transmission and the engine itself. Yes, people would call me crazy with the amount of rain that's coming down, and I mean it is coming down. They would call me crazy for being out here in this type of weather, especially since it's thundering. So it's thundering, the winds are starting to pick up in gusts. It is blowing the balloon tent around as well as filling the top with water. But I have the oil currently draining, our fresh brake-in oil that is totally clear and hasn't been used. So I'm draining that brake-in oil. I have some of the bolts loose on the bottom. Already started loosening up the bolts going around the perimeter of the bell housing. I'll support the engine and let's keep moving forward. I'm utilizing my battery powered spotlights because the rain is coming down so much, not trying to get zapped or shocked. But in the balloon tent's defense, had I had this front opening enclosed or zipped up, as well as my second pump motor running, this would have been ballooning more at the top and running off the water. So I need this front part open so that way I have easy access to the engine while it's continually raining. I brought my lift cart out from the garage and I have it pretty much propped up under the engine. I have a support jack under the transmission, and I'm going to start unbolting the top motor mount, and then I'll unbolt the rest of the hardware around the perimeter of the transmission. So let's continue to make some progress out in this rainy day. Okay, we're making progress. Slide it away. You can actually see the dual mass flywheel. And do we have enough room to slide this baby out? It's looking pretty close. Looking like we might be able to do this. Let's keep sliding it and see what we can get. I am so close. You can see the teeth and everything, but I'm all the way up against the frame rail. So what I'm going to do is loosen up the transmission mount, actually remove the bolts for it, allow my transmission to shift over to the right, and that should probably give me enough clearance to go ahead to shimmy this out. This is it, wrapping it up for the night. It is not enough room to slide this engine to the side to get it out, so I have no choice but to take out the transmission. So I have to be to work in less than 6 hours, so it's time to pack it up for the night, go in the house, get some sleep, and go to work, pick back up on this another day.